And it's already gone slightly wrong because I forgot to press that button. Hello everyone and welcome back to another stream, another live stream from my channel HEMR Mod Railway. Today is HEMR Mod Railway Live number 35 and we are back on Train Sim World. I've only just decided to do this stream in the past sort of an hour and a half, 2 hours. Friday night is normally the night I spend quite a bit of time playing Train Sim World after a long week at doing work, etc, etc. So it's normally the time I take to relax. So I thought I might as well share it with you lot this evening. I forgot to do this last week because I didn't have one, but drink of choice is, if you can read backwards, Fanta. Not sponsored, although I'm not saying no. So, I mean, that's already, I only opened that 5 minutes ago, it's already nearly half gone. So today, as you will have probably seen in the title or the description, as the audio, yes, we've got audio, that's good, all good. As you will have seen by the title and the description, today we are testing out, I'm testing out as well for the first time, apart from the trailers and a couple of bits of promos I've done for it, we're testing out the National Power Class 59. Now this is my livery that I designed, I did it in the Creators Club. It's not perfect, I will admit that, it's not completely fine. For instance, the lettering on the side there is pixelated just because of how Train Sim World deals with custom liveries, and also the sort of triangle peak thing you see there just before 59206, I couldn't quite do that exactly perfectly just because of how difficult it was to do. But overall, I am very, excuse me, that's the Fanta repeating, I am overall very happy with this. And as you can see, I've done it on the dirty Peter Doncaster version, so you can see the, excuse me, Fanta coming up again. As you can see, the dirt is on the bottom. I did originally start to make it on the Great Western Express version of the 66, but then I decided before I got too into it to do on the Peterborough Doncaster one, just so it looks a little bit more dirty and not completely pristine, because I haven't, I've not added weather into the top half, so to speak. So it is 59206 we are driving today on Northern Trans Pennine, starting at Leeds and going to Manchester. And the number of this is obviously 59206 Pride of Ferry Bridge. I've put together a consist, and I'll explain how I've done that in a minute when I say hello to Timber Valley Production, who's managed to make it today. Thank you for joining. Hope you are doing well. So, today, this is obviously what we drive. In fact, why don't I just go on the other platform so I can show you instead of prattling about on this platform. Let's just do a little bit of trespassing. Yes, very good. And I will remember to turn the Xbox sound on now I've done the intro. So, sound incoming. And I'll plug my headphones in as well. And with any luck, we'll have some sound. There we go. I just wanted the Xbox sound off while I did the talking at the start. So, we've got the 66 on the front. We have, these are the Peterborough Doncaster red coaches. The air brakes. I think, as far as I'm aware, the 66 can only do air brakes, so it made sense to pick air brakes. So we've got 4 first class Mark IIs, I think these are. I'm not surprised. Well, if I've got this wrong, don't be surprised. I'm sure Tim Valley will be able to correct me. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 1, 2... Actually, I only did this half an hour ago. I can't believe I can't remember. 4 first class Mark IIs from the Peterborough Doncaster. I can hear a train powering up somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I can hear one. Anyway, let's stop getting distracted already. 4 first class Mark IIs, then we've got regular scum class, standard class, whatever you want to call it, Mark IIs. I think we've got 11 coaches in total, so I think there might be, oh no, there's 6 of these, that makes 10. And then the 11th coach is a Mark I Guards coach from, again, Peterborough Doncaster. Comes with the Flying Scotsman, I think. I think all these coaches come with the Flying Scotsman pack. And then on the back, I was debating between putting another 66, but I thought, no, we'll have a little bit of variety. And I've gone with the West Somerset Railway two-tone green 47. And although Northern Trans Pennine, of course, doesn't have AWS, this one has got the AWS fitted, as does the 66 at the front, but it will be of no use on this route today because Northern Trans Pennine, being northern, of course, didn't have all the latest safety upgrades. I think, actually, quick check of the tracks, we should see what else we've got in. I've just noticed, yeah, not that 47, I've just noticed this 47 here, which is, oh, posters added. That's a quite nice poster actually. Because I've got Creators Club, one of the 47s is autumn. I do mean to turn these off, but of course I never remember. One of the Creators Club liveries I've designed, not the ones I've designed, sorry, one of the Creators Club liveries I've downloaded has appeared here, the West Coast Railways 47. That is on my list. I did make a West Coast Railways 37 back in Train Sim World 2 days, but didn't save it properly, and it somehow got deleted before I moved on to Train Sim World 4 and 5. So I have got plans to make a 37, my old 37 West Coast Railways livery. I do have plans to make that again, and I also do want to make a 47 in West Coast Railways, simply because the ones on the Creative Club that I've found so far have been terrible. I mean, this one doesn't look great if you ask me. Timber Valley has confirmed that I was correct. Thank you very much indeed. He's got a Dapol 59206 in DV on the letter called John F. Yeoman. Yeah, it's not called Pride of Ferrybridge anymore. In fact, I don't. Is that 59206 been scrapped? I'm not sure. I should have looked at that. Anyway, the West Coast Railways can. I mean, if you think a 66 on the Northern Trans Pennine is unprototypical, I mean, West Coast Railways with oil tankers, you can't get much worse than that, can you? So that was one of the trains I was wanting to look at, tankers from the BI Heavy Freight back. We've got a 47, number 47607 in. There was a 45 over the other side. There's a couple of 101s hanging about. 206 not been scrapped with Freightliner. Thank you very much. That's always good to hear. I mean, even though it's not Pride of Ferrybridge, it's good to know it's not been scrapped. This was all done in the scenario creator, not the scenario creator, the formation designer and the dovetail live section of the headings at the top of Train Sim World 5. You can just add a loco, and then I picked the coaches and stuck the 47 on the back. You can also do it like this. I've just spawned in, I think what day is it today? The 7th. So I spawned in on the 7th of June. I set it to 11:30, but obviously we've been running a little while now, so it's just after 12. So I've just spawned into the timetable, because if you create a custom scenario, then all these trains don't appear by themselves. You have to add them yourself, and it's a pain to do. So I've just spawned in on a day in the planner, and then gone on to here, searched 66 because I created it with the 66. And then you can see there 59 tour, and that's how I've added it. I mean, you can spawn it, join in a free. Well, you actually go onto the timetable and you spawn on foot rather than picking loco. I mean, you can do it car by car and loco by loco, as you can see there, but it's just a lot easier to position when you've got the whole train built up and you just spawn it as one. And of course, it's a lot quicker as well. 101 down there. A 45 which has just snuck out of view there, and the post trains all lined up over there. Timber Valley says that 59 does look very good. Thank you very much indeed. I spent a lot of time. I mean, it's not perfect, just as a simple function of how Train Sim World deals with custom liveries. I mean, all that text there, believe it or not, is exactly the text that appears on my Lima Class 59, because I bought Lima Class 59 Pride of Ferrybridge and built this 59 loco based off the Lima model, and the text that is on the Lima loco does appear there. I did add the correct letters, all the correct numbers, all the correct spacing, and there is supposed to be a line separating them two columns of text there, but just the way Train Sim World handles it, it doesn't look the best, but hopefully it'll be good enough for this little test. So we best set things up. I believe earlier I already turned all of the lights on in the side, so we'll have to check that. Yeah, we did. We turned all the lights on, and there's nothing I can do with the fact that there's no passengers on it, so we'll just have to not look too closely at that. So today's plan is to go non-stop Leeds to Manchester, and of course, as per the title and the description, we're going to be taking a look at the power stations, because of course Pride of Ferrybridge was a power station. National Power doesn't need much more explaining than that. So there's a couple on the way. I think there's one near Huddersfield, one near Ravensthorpe, and another one near Murfield, I think. So I think there's 3 to look at on the way, and you'll have seen them before in one of the videos, but it's an excuse to test the 59 in this livery. As I said at the start of the stream, I haven't had a chance to test this out yet, apart from in the promo of stuff I did in the filming the trailer. And I've not driven a 66 all that much in Train Sim World either, so I thought we'd do that today. Keep forgetting you've got a Liam 1 in the Mark 2s and 3s. Can we expect an unboxing review at some point? I have no schedule at the moment, as I'm sure I've said before. And I'm making a video shortly about what's going to be happening with the channel. Nothing bad, just things which need to be said. Right. So we shall not bother turning AWS and TPWS on because it's not on this route, but we will turn the DSD on. We will get some lights on, so we want daytime running, tail lights no, instruments yes, cab lights we definitely do not want. It's middle of June, so we'll have window open, reverse handle to neutral, direct brake should be off, yes it is. The screen has stopped. Okay, is it the course reverser? I would have expected that to be lit up. Oh, do I have to turn it on? Oh, you don't normally have to turn it on, but it must have. Well, I swear that was on when I set this train up. It must have turned itself off anyway. Right, so I think that's all we need to do really. The passenger lights are on. We've set the safety system. Whoa, that looks a bit strange. That is very strange. It's not done that before. It's flickering. It's like the lights are going out. Well, it's like the sun's going out. Anyway, right, we're in forwards. I think what we now need to do is set a route to Manchester. So if we press set destination and pick a train in Manchester, let's pick a reasonably long platform. Platform 13? Or platform 12. We'll not go on 13. There's a superstition about that. Not that I'm superstition, but we will go for Victoria platform 12 because there's a train due in at 13. Where it will be done by then. So if we set it right at the end of the buffers, well, right at the end of the platform, and here's where Xbox has a really enjoyable time trying to precisely select the stop point. Excuse me. That'll do. Do we want this to be our destination? Yes. We'll refocus. Excuse me back there. I'll check that I'm centered in the camera, which I'm so often not. And can I say, apart from the flickering, which is nothing I can do to fix that, if my voice is too loud, do let me know. And if the game volume is too loud, also do let me know. And I can do some adjusting of the audio level. Right, let's get the doors open on the right hand side. Of course, I've already mentioned that we can't do anything about the passengers not getting on or off, but we can still open the doors nonetheless. I'm not actually sure how long this route will take us, because normally you stop, you go Leeds, Huddersfield, Manchester, or Manchester, Huddersfield, Leeds, and obviously we're in a 47 or a 40 or a 45 with a lot less horsepower than the 66, but the trains are generally shorter, so we'll have to see how we get on. I'm hoping it's not going to last too much longer than an hour and a half, given that it started at 8:30 today. I'm not wanting for it to go on too long because obviously it gets late at that point, and people obviously won't be staying until it gets very late. Right, passengers on, we can shut the doors. And, well, I think we can be on his way. So we'll get the brakes off all the way. I hope that flickering stops. It just seems to be in the Leeds area, just beyond the points there. We can't really see it happening. So brakes off, and we'll wait for this indicator to show that there's the airflow's gone down. When it approaches 0, I'll just get a bit of power on to get us moving. Because although this says the brakes are off the dial in the middle, of course it's got to release the brakes in the whole train. So, and we are away. All ideal volume wise, thank you very much. And we're underway, well, pretty effortlessly actually. I can't remember how heavy it said the train was. 604 tonne. Really? I'd have thought it'd have been a lot more than that. Well, it should be a fairly easy trip, this. If it keeps flickering like this, I might have to restart. It's slightly irritating, it's not done that before. That must be the game problem, not the Xbox, or it's certainly not the capture card, because on my main monitor here it's also flickering. Need to remember to the camera view, so that's that one. Oh, yeah, we'll set this one up at the back of the train with the 47. Does look good, that 47. I can hear a police car. Speeding slightly, let's try not to do that. What other? Oh, we've got this one. Yes, I'll set all the cameras up. Yeah, that looks fine. That one's at the back again. Also looks fine. And then we get these ones. Oops! Desk, data code. Yeah, we know the address is isolated. Do we get head out cams? Oh no. Oh, there's a 45 there. Must have been waiting for us to leave. That's quite good then, actually. Obviously, if you've set a route, obviously the trains are going to be programmed to wait for you. But yeah, the fact that he's actually waited for us to pull out, yeah, I like that. We were going through the cameras, which is this one. Oh yes, head out, there we go, that's something I was looking for. I could really do with plugging my wireless keyboard into my Xbox, then I can just press 2 rather than having to cycle through all of them, but we do generally manage alright. I've pressed D-pad right instead of D-pad left again, got to go through the motions. I just want to see what cameras you do get. Yeah, head out other side, I'm back in the chair, okay, that's fine. You should have a look at Blackpool Branches route. I think you have Train Simulator 5, I do indeed. It's a fantastic route and I cannot recommend it highly enough. The pacer is brilliant and the 47s. Well, yeah, when the massive sale was on not that long ago, when I got Train Sim World 5, I did consider... Was it Train Sim World 5? No, it wasn't. I bought the heavy freight pack, didn't I? Because I was considering buying Peak Forest, but I didn't. But on my list currently, to get at some point, are Tees Valley, Peak Forest. I kind of want the Midland Main Line now, I've discovered Ratcliffe Power Station's on there. Blackpool Branches is on the list as well. What other ones? And... Preston's Carlisle, the other Just Trains route, I'm really looking forward to getting as well, although that one is slightly more expensive. So I've got several different things on the list at the moment, but Blackpool Branches I have considered getting. I'm kind of almost there but not quite, because Pacers I really don't like them, and it's just how interesting are they actually going to be to drive, because they certainly weren't interesting to ride. Yeah, Northern Trans Pennine layers too, yeah, it does. And I've just remembered as well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tees Valley has the 3-car variant of the 101, whereas Northern Trans Pennine, obviously we're on now, I think only has the 2-car variant, so... And I would really one day like the 31, the Class 31 and the Class 20 as well, but because it's an older route, the 31 and the 20 only work when you actually own the route, so, you know, there's obviously a lot of money to be spent there, and I need to think about what I want to get. Peter's joined, Pete's Transport and More. Thank you very much for joining, Pete. Nice to see you. Hope you are doing well. Diesel Legends of Great Western has 3-car 101 too. Yeah, the 52 is also something I like. I'd probably not buy the one for the West Somerset route. I'll probably get Diesel Legend of the Great Western as well, because I think... Is that getting an update with the new Great Western Express route? I'm not sure. Well, not the new one, the remastered one, I can't remember. Now, I think we're heading a slightly different route to Manchester, because, if I am very much not mistaken, we normally go up on that route there, over that bridge, but we've actually turned left here. It must be because we're going to platform 13, not one of any of the other platforms. Let's pile some power on, we want to get shifting. So yeah, I don't think, unless it's been a time I'm not aware of, I don't think I've actually ever gone to Manchester on the left side rather than up there. If I'm not mistaken. Or am I just talking rubbish? No, never mind. Ignore what I've just said. I've not been paying attention to where we're... Never mind. Yeah, I've just not been paying attention to where we're going. You see the amps drop there, and they're suddenly going to pile back on now when we get to about 34 mile an hour. I believe that's the motors switching from being placed in series, wired in series, to now being wired in parallel. So I think that happens about 34 mile an hour in the 66. You'll notice in some other locos like... Oh, well, not obviously not the same thing, but the 150 with West Cornwall local is diesel hydraulic. You get to a certain speed and it switches from a torque converter to a fluid coupling, and you get the sort of same kind of change in sound type effect. But yeah, that was because this is diesel electric. Obviously, it's changing from motors being wired in or connected in series to being connected in parallel. Now we're going up to higher speeds. The 150 diesel hydraulic, so it doesn't have any traction motors. Should we be bouncing? This is concerning that we're bouncing up and down this. Look at that. Oh, it's right. It's stopped doing it now. I'm looking at it with the camera. Well, we're building up speed reasonably well. Look at that. That's quite. I like that though. You can actually see the. Well, that's not really a spring, is it there? But you can see the suspension really working. I might have to turn the camera. I think I've got the camera motion sway on 200% because it's never normally bouncy enough, but I think we might end up being motion sick if we endure this for too much longer. Although I suppose it's realistic. If it's the new suspension physics, yeah, I was just thinking that. I have got that turned on. If it becomes too bouncy or you start feeling ill, please let me know and I will either turn it off or turn it down, but for the moment I will leave it as it is. If it becomes annoying or just a general nuisance, let me know and I'll turn it off. Well, we're not having any problems climbing this one in 120 so far. We're getting up to the speed limit. And I'm just going to notch back a little bit to get us down to not 120, what am I on about? To get us down to 50 mile an hour. And get a little power back on just to keep us there. Yeah. So I'm impressed by how good that suspension looks now. Look at that. You can see the coaches doing it as well. I guess when I drive on Train Sim World, I never actually spend that much time outside. I'm normally in the cab because obviously I'm streaming for you. I try to, you know, show you outside and some of the scenery, so it's not just you looking at the inside of a 66 for an hour and a half. So yeah, I can't say I've noticed that before, but that does look incredible. We are losing quite a bit of speed. I may have not needed to put the brakes on there. Maybe I should have just throttled off and let the gradient do the work. But oh, we're stuck in a tree. Okay, that was a lot less of a meow than I was expecting. Right, if I'm not mistaken, we are coming up to a tunnel. Yes, indeed we are. We want a little bit less power. Again, just a reminder, if the audio is too loud, too quiet, just let me know. I'll be happy to sort it out. And into the tunnel we go. Can I put the cab lights on in the dark? Likelihood impossible. That was the desk lights. Cab lights, it came up. Nah, we had it. Cab lights. Yes, there we go. Not a very effective cab light. Right, let's get on the beans again. We can get up to 60. I don't know if they actually do this in real life. I guess what they do is, I guess they maybe turn the cab light on towards the end of the tunnel when they're getting into the light, so their eyes are adjusted to the light a bit more. I don't know if that's a real thing or whether I'm just making that up, but that'd make sense to me. But might as well turn them on for you lot. I normally have in the 101 there's a cab light switch for the right hand cab light there and the cab light switch for the left hand cab light there. I normally have the right hand cab light always on in the 101, even when it's, you know, full sunshine, because it's just really dingy in there otherwise. I think I might be able to power all the way off here. We seem to be making progress quite well. What do we look like in the tunnel? Yeah, just a black blob with my head in the window. Oh, and we got whacked by the tunnel wall. Lovely. Generally, cab lights don't go on at night time. Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, oh, you said there, yeah, the glare of reflection from the inside. I mean, you know that in a car when somebody in the back passenger seats puts a light on to find the phone that they've dropped between the seats, never to be found again. But yeah, so I believe they use instrument lighting and in some cases desk lighting. Yeah, I understand that. I can get that. Cab lights can go off now. There we go. No headlight. Have I not turned them? I turned them on. Did I accidentally turn them off? Because I could have sworn I'd turned them on. Thank you. Glad somebody's paying attention and is speeding slightly. Dab off brakes. I thought I'd turn them on. I might have accidentally knocked the joystick while doing it and turned them off again. Thank you for reminding me. I just didn't know if they put the cab lights on in tunnel. I mean, I suppose they don't need to see in tunnels, do they? I suppose they've got all the controls memorised, but the 66 obviously don't have a desk light. So 101, there we go. He's heading to Leeds. I should have, I think I've mentioned this before, but even in Train Sim World I stick my hand up to trains coming. That may be a little bit sad, but that's something that I do. I think other people do as well. Feel mean now for not waving at him. Right, I think that was Batley, if I'm not much mistaken. Yeah, Batley. So next station is Dewsbury. I'll just make sure I did put those on daylight. Yes, of course I did. Oh, this is another interesting feature. If you go on data meters, you can see how much oomph you're putting in motors. Very technical. Stop. Yeah, there we go. I know you can view screen like that, but yeah. Obviously, we're not putting any at the moment because we're going downhill, and we are once again speeding, and there's a 50 coming up. Let's try and get us down to 50 mile an hour. Fortunately, the 66 brakes are very good indeed. I think we'll get down to this 50 just nicely. Indeed we have. Look at that. Quite enjoy Northern Trans Pennine as a route, but definitely in need of an overhaul. Yep, I can agree with that, definitely. Here comes Dewsbury. And if I'm not mistaken, our first power station at Ravensthorpe will be coming up shortly. It'd be a shame it always defaults to the back of the train when you do that. Maybe it doesn't if you have the keyboard controls. Oops, no, we can still speed up. Ah, there we go. There's our first power station, single cooling tower. Power up a little bit. Not too much, we're on a 1 in 43. There we go. Here is our first power station, for which I will turn the hood off and go to the other side of the train. Coming up shortly. So there's 3 I think I mentioned. There's one here, there's one in Huddersfield, and there's one Murfield way I think. So yeah, this name of this begins with T. Is it Thornhill or something like that? I'm not entirely sure. It's got a name something like that. I should Google that when we've got past it. Pylon, that's a good sign. Oh yeah, there we go. There's the cooling tower. And shortly will be the chimney. There we go. So there we go. There is power station number 1. Oh my god, I think we're go. Oh my gig. Oh, why have we been? Oh goodness me. We've been diverted onto the slow route. Yeah, let's not slow. Please slow. No, fine. Okay, the speed limit. I did wonder why. Gee, did you see that careering through the points? Then that was terrible. We nearly failed that. That was absolutely terrifying. Top tip: pay attention to the speed limits. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was being rudely interrupted by being diverted onto the slow line. It's normally a 45-mile-an-hour route limit through those points there if you're on the 2 leftmost tracks there. That was power station numero 1. And we'll heading towards Huddersfield now for the next one. Let's give it the welly. Need some Yorkshire tones? Yes, I can do that for you. How sad am I for remembering that? Well, I also know it, so... Station coming up here, there's a chance to do it. Are we nearly there? Are we nearly there? Are we nearly there? We're nearly there. There you go. Can we get to 80 on this actually? On the Northern Trans Pennine there's this small section here when you can up to 80 and I've not managed it so far, and I'm tempted to just take a light engine, well, a light engine or a light engine like 3 coaches and just bomb it down here to try and get to 80. I mean, I believe further up here it does split off. Yeah, if you carry on going on there, I think it'd carry on at 80 mile an hour, but I've never actually managed to get to 80 up here so far. Timber Valley enjoyed that? Yeah, I thought you might. I did as well. And we're going to be speeding again because I've been too busy looking at the camera and not trying to do this speed limit. Maybe I should, you know, to be fair, if I was driving this not on stream, I would have restarted this at this point because I just can't do with speeding and going through points at 3 times the speed limit. But yeah, this is incredibly poor driving from me. I mean, I haven't driven the 66 in a while, but I can drive it a damn sight better than I am doing it. Won't get to 80 in a shed. I think they're limited to 75. Yeah, you're right. I mean, not in Train Sim World. We all know what Train Sim World speed limits are like. They're just absolutely ludicrous. But I mean, given that 6 days ago. No, it was the second 5 days ago that we took Flying Scotsman to 122. Yeah. They're not the most realistic, but yeah, limited to 75, quite right. Some of them are limited to even less, I think. Well, I'm impressed I managed to keep us at 50 there. We didn't drop too far below it. Going up to 70 shortly, I think. Look at the back end bouncing. Right, let's get the welly on. I'm pretty sure real drivers won't just ram it to alive. Is that the moon? Yeah, that's the moon. Right? But we have, because we are not a proper driver. And we've already exceeded the speed limit by 3 times, so might as well roll some coal and get up to 70 as quickly as we can. Sounds good though. Let's get the other camera out. Like that. 2.2 miles until we need to do 40. That 40 mile an hour is just before you get to Huddersfield. And then there's a really sneaky 15 not much further after that 40 that they don't tell you about. Well, it just shows you the next speed limit, so you've just got to be aware of that after you've driven it a few times. Yeah, when you zoom in you can see it's all just the livery editor in Tracy World's just inadequate, but from a distance I think you'll agree that looks good. Oh, we've just been hit by a, was that a 47? I didn't even see that. We just got blasted out of the way. That was not a 101 anyway. There's probably a 47 that went past. .2 miles till we need to do 40, so I think I will just back off on the old oomph and see if we can get the gradient to save us some thickness on his brake pads, brake shoes. Actually making cracking progress. I think we started off just over 30 miles, so yeah, not doing too bad. I'll get us a little bit of braking on, not loads, we don't need a lot. In fact, I'm going to give us even less braking than that. So we should just be able to sail through Huddersfield at 15, I think the limit is. Not much further on than this 40, so we'll get down to a nice speed. If you're wondering why I keep looking left, by the way, if you've not been on these streams before, it's because I have the main TV screen up here, well, monitor screen, and I have OBS here, so I can check the chat and the audio and everything. So here comes the 40, and then not much further after will be a 15. It says that says 40. It's either 15 or 10. Yeah, it's 15. There you go. Right, I'm actually going to come off the brakes there, because they'll still be applying slightly. We'll still be releasing. Yeah, near enough got there. No point slamming them on. What we got in the, yeah, we've got the usual Huddersfield 47, a 101 that's in, and then the 08 with some coaches. Very nice. I realise I haven't been doing head-out cam as much as I normally do. So we'll have a bit of that, shall we, through Huddersfield. Bit of oomph to keep us going. Greens all the way through. And we'll not give ourselves concussion on the signal. And into the Huddersfield tunnels we go. Now, I'm going to turn the cab lights on because I want you to see what's going on. So, I'll put them on for you. Here we go. Oops. There we go. We have got the headlights on now. Power! Ooh, we're into the red, 6,000 amps. Lovely. They do actually do rail tours with 66s. They do quite a few, quite close to me actually, going through various branch lines and stuff. I think it's the Branch Lines Society that does most of them. There's been one into Drax, not that quite recently actually. I think they had like 5. They had different sets, so I think they had 2 red locos, they had 2 green locos, they had 2 blue locos going. Yeah, they do actually do quite a lot of rail tours with 66s. Oh, and we've just been hit by the tunnel wall again. Let's get back in the car. There you go, the amps have just suddenly dropped off again. Switching to parallel, and now we're getting the welly again. Let's turn the cab light off, save on those bulbs. 21 miles to go. And I'll reposition this camera, which seems to be battered by just about every piece of scenery imaginable. I like how the 59s and 66s are of course an American EMD design, but I like how he managed to give them a nickname so British such as Shed. I mean, you know, American loco managed to give it a name like that. It's yeah, I mean, given though they are really American, you know, they still feel so British if you ask me. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, primarily because they are so common, but yeah, they are a very, very good loco. I like them. And yes, the engine sounds typical American. If you go and drive Sandpatch Grade or Sherman Hill, which is free on Xbox, or has recently been free on Xbox, I did pick that up, or any of the other American diesel freight routes, you know, you do realise how the engine, obviously it's designed in America, it sounds American, but, you know, it is still, you know, I consider it a British loco. Some people don't like them, some drivers don't like them, some say they're noisy and horrible and loud, and they might be, but as a train spotter and train enthusiast, I do like them, and well, hopefully you do as well, given that the stream is literally featuring one of them. They're certainly not my most favourite British diesel, but they are, yeah, I do really quite like them. Did an 8F rail tour on Northern Trans Pennine a while back with a 47, shoving it up the rear was great fun, and I can imagine. Well, given some of the gradients, you might have needed some help with a diesel shoving the steam up, but yeah, sounds good. I might have to do that at some point. I've not done a steam rail, well, we did the Flying Scotsman last week, didn't we, but I've not done a scenario planner steam rail tour yet, but I might have to do that next week, or this weekend if I get a chance actually. I'll magpie that suggestion off. Yeah, Timmy Valley says he's got to go now, mate. I will watch the rest later. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for joining and being in the chat. Have a very good rest of your evening. Oh, that Fanta's gone a bit warm, but still refreshing nonetheless. Oh, I'm just realised I've been showing platform 13, but I changed it to 12, didn't I? Or decided to go with 12 instead of 13. Well, we're still accelerating up this very steep gradient. Well, not very steep, but reasonably steep. There's a 1 in 43 or something on the Long Island Railroad, which I do own. Don't play very often, but Pete says, see you, Timber. Or Mr. Tips, as is known in our Discord server. And we're gone. Just like that. I've just realised we've missed a power station going. We've missed the entire point of doing this, which is to look at power stations on the Northern Trans Pennine. And I've just realised I didn't show you the power station at Huddersfield. That's annoying. We might have to spawn in when we get to Manchester and show you. That's annoying. I got distracted. Normally I look for it coming the other way. We went into the tunnels and out towards Manchester. If you go Manchester, the tunnels, and then towards Leeds. If you come out of the tunnels the other way, we went in that way. But if you come out this way, it's on your right, just over there. And I forgot to show you it. You know, when we rounded that corner into Huddersfield, if you looked over on the left, you'd seen. I normally look for it on the right when I go. I normally drive Manchester to Leeds rather than the other way around. But yeah, I forgot to show you. That's annoyed me slightly. I will show you that. Excuse me, I'll spawn in and I'll show you. Might take the 08 for a little spin and I can show you on the move in that. Yeah, that's slightly irritated me, considering that was the entire point of the stream, was showing you them in my, obviously, power station affiliated 59, 66, but it's reskinned as a 59. There are no 59s in Train Sim World as we speak. I think Pete will be enjoying this. Mind you, it's not his usual diesel loco and freight. We've got diesel loco and passengers, but I do know that Pete likes a good diesel loco. Still pushing towards 65. And with the speed limit coming up, so I'll try notch 3 and see how we slow down at that. Drop down to notch 2. Don't want to knock the power completely off, because then we'd have to power up to keep us at that 55, but I think we might be alright here. I'm going to apply more power as we get down towards the 55, just to hopefully keep us at that speed around this tight corner. Pete is enjoying it? Yeah, I thought he might be, Pete. When I not devise this idea, but when I thought, what should we do tonight? I thought, I think I know somebody who might like this. There's a 40 coming up. Staley Bridge, is that nearby? I feel like we're heading towards that kind of area. Well, that might be a little bit further afield. Let's have a look. This is not... what station was that? Marsden. Yes, so this is the other side of the tunnel name. Will come to me in a minute. Stanage. So this is the other side of Stanage Tunnel, Marsden, which is the 3 and a bit mile, is it? 3.1 mile or something like that. A really long tunnel along the Northern Trans Pennine, which we are just about to enter. Knew it would come to me eventually. Stanage. So Staley Bridge is not... I was thinking of the wrong tunnel. I was thinking of the other really long tunnel. Yeah, because there's that there. Greenfield. This is another nasty speed limit at Staley Bridge as well. Northslick. Staley Bridge is a lot closer to Manchester. Yeah, there we go. So it's not too far away, but I was thinking of the wrong tunnel. Oh, we can get back up to 65, although we are going to have to slow down to 45. Again. can actually see my face without all the reflection from the brightness of the screen when we're in tunnels. I could take my glasses off, but then I'd look even dafter than I already do. So. Thought I'd leave the cab lights off for this tunnel. We'll turn them on just before we exit, as I say. Let the eyes adjust as if we were driving in real life, but yeah. Oh, DSD, because we've not moved the power handle in a minute or so, I think it normally is. Normally you can see when the end's coming up, but yeah, you can just see every now and then the render distance, it suddenly shoots back to be a lot longer than you think. But the speed limit in the top right's about right for this station at the just coming out of the tunnel, so we will we'll judge that for turning the cab light back on. Get some brakes on for this 45. Not too much though, because the brakes in this 66 seem to be, well, for a modern loco, with trains a lot heavier than just 11 coaches and a diesel on back, obviously have to be a fair bit powerful, more powerful than the 47s and 45s of back then. I mean, that's why when the British diesels were first introduced after steam locos, they had diesel brake tenders, which were just long, heavy wagons to provide more braking force, because the braking force wasn't as good as the steam locos on the diesel locos when they were first introduced. So I think the tunnel exit is just about coming, and now I've got to find the ruddy cab lights again, which keep bouncing around all over the place. Cab lights, come on, play silly beggars with me. There we go, thank you. We'll get the brakes off. Dab of oomph to keep us at roughly the same speed. And there we go, down to 45 in plenty of time. I'll just check my laptop isn't going thermonuclear, melting down. No, it isn't. Very good. Xbox, it's hardly warm, the air coming out of that actually. I'm quite impressed. Ah, the liability's joined us. Jaden from On the Main Line, thank you for joining, Jaden. Nice to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Sounds like I'm about to be nicked for speeding. Don't tell Jaden about the speeding. I mean, oh dear, I've told him. Yeah, Jaden, we did 3 times the speed limit earlier, coming through Ravensthorpe. Yeah, we may have done about 65 when we were meaning to do 20. So, yeah. Please don't tell my employers at National Power, or indeed Network Rail. I mean, Network Rail exists back in Northern Trans Pennine days, but yeah. What's all this about? You do sound like a police officer's just joined the chat. You sound like PC Macintosh from Wallace and Gromit's just joined. I've got Peter Kay's voice in my head now, because he says that in the new film. If you've not watched the new Wallace and Gromit film, I've watched it. It's fantastic. I do definitely recommend it. Yeah, nice to see you, Jaden. Hopefully you're doing okay this evening. You've missed the drink of choice, by the way. I've remembered this week. Orange Fanta. A bit more come out of that than I was expecting. I think you're the next Michael Schumacher, do you, boy racer? Yeah, I've got me 5,800 horsepower 66. Of those horsepowers we are currently using 1,000, which is about a Bugatti Veyron, which is not overly impressive, but we don't exactly need all of them at this present moment. And once again I'm about to start speeding. No, that's alright, 3 times the limit is what I like to hear. Yeah, let's just say going through the points after Ravensthorpe was an experience. It was more like being on a Blackpool roller coaster than on the railway, but the less said about that the better. It's amazing, that says Pete. Yes, it is. Very, very good film. I'm always concerned with films, the more that they release, the worse they seem to get. The exceptions to that rule so far are Heartstopper, if you've seen the Netflix show. That gets better every season. Credit to Alice Oseman for that. Back to the Future, Now that's not entirely true, because Back to the Future 3 is the, well, it does get better apart from 2, so I think Back to the Future 3 is the best, primarily because it's got a train in it, shock horror. Followed by Back to the Future 1 being the second best, and Back to the Future 2 I just find a bit weird. So the exceptions I've found for that Heartstopper, Wallace and Gromit, which I think the latest episode was very, very good. It's as good, if not better, than some of the old ones, and Back to the Future, as I've said. So yeah, if you've not seen the new Wallace and Gromit film, please do go watch it. Well, we are making absolutely storming progress, just about to be 9 miles to Manchester. And it's not really I think we set off maybe about 8 minutes past 12, maybe, something like that, maybe 10 past 12, so, you know, 40 minutes. This route normally takes about an hour and a half. Whether you're in a 47, 45 or driving a 101, to get from Manchester to Leeds or Leeds to Manchester generally takes you about an hour and a half. Obviously there's less stops for the 45 and the 47 because they're express services, and the 101 stops at every stop. But because the 101 acceleration is a lot better, and it's lighter and the brakes are more effective, then the time, despite driving a more powerful 47 or 45, is the same as roughly has been in the 101. So the fact that we're going to do this in probably under an hour, or maybe just a hair over, is yeah, we're making storming progress. I mean, are you surprised? We're in a nearly 6,000 horsepower diesel compared to probably just over 2,000, 2,500 for the 47 and 45, so it's not a massive surprise, but we are definitely doing it a lot quicker. And the fact that I was doing 3 times the speed limit earlier might also have something to do with it. There you go, that's the cheeky 15 mile an hour that pops up out of nowhere. When you come in the other way, Manchester to Leeds, it just goes bang, and then you're like, damn, I'm now doing 4 times the speed limit or 5 times the speed limit. So yeah, Staley Bridge definitely catches you out on that one. Jaden says get to 88. We should do that, actually. I mean, we can't replicate it with a car, but could definitely recreate that somehow on the American route with a lot of editing, which I definitely don't have the skills to do. I've seen Heartstopper, a good show. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, I'm going to go as far as say it's the best thing I've ever seen. Jaden says, I must say I can confirm that this is very realistic. Yes, here we go. Here is the third of our 3 power stations, ignoring the fact that I missed one of them earlier. 2 cooling towers, 1 chimney. No, I think there's another chimney actually. I think it comes into render distance at some point. But there is our third power station. Well, the second one we've seen. Yeah, there's the second chimney. I knew it was. The second one we've seen, but the third one along this route, the third one we were supposed to see. Oh yeah, there is the last power station before we get to Manchester. Yeah, I was explaining earlier, Jaden, just before you joined, that I missed the one at Huddersfield, because I'm normally used to coming the other way and it being on your right when you're heading to Leeds from Manchester, but because we're going Leeds to Manchester, it was on the left as we approached the Huddersfield, and I completely forgot about it. I forgot to show you. So when we get to Manchester, oh my god, we're speeding, and there's the 15. When we get to Manchester and finish off this, I said I was going to go back to Huddersfield and show you the last one for the sake of completeness. My drink of choice for last week or so is hot Ribena. I used to like it and really fell in love with it. I must have had about 3.5 litres of hot Ribena this week. Wow. Here's the liability berry. Well, with a lot of harsh braking and whiplash, I think we're actually going to make it down to 15. In fact, we're going to make it down to 15 so early that we're going to need to power up again. Well, yeah, exactly. We are almost grinding to a halt. Yeah, stick some welly on. Yeah, we nearly come grinding to a halt there. That's not good. I told you that the 15-mile-an-hour limit sneaks up on you and then failed to slow down for the 15-mile-an-hour limit. Anyway. Every time I see a power station I think, wow, those funnels always look really cool. Cooling towers, if you want the technical term. The hyperboloid shapes, is that how you pronounce it? Hyperboloid? That's the general shape that's best for getting an induced draft through them, natural draft through them. Can you tell what power station that is? I'm assuming that one is there in real life. It's probably not there in real life anymore. It's probably been demolished considering all the coal ones, well, all the coal ones have gone. Unless it was converted to gas, but then again I doubt it. So I can certainly do a Google for you while we're trundling along. I'm going to find the name of the Ravensthorpe one as well, because I said I was going to Google that, because it began with T and I couldn't quite think of the name. Thornhill, I thought it was something, yeah, Thornhill Power Station near Ravensthorpe. It says supplied electricity to the town of Dewsbury from 1902 to 1982. So now if I search Staley Bridge Power Station, it'll have a proper name. Hart's Head is what it was called. Yeah, you can see the curve. I'm looking at a picture of it now, and you can see the two cooling towers quite clearly, and the two chimneys quite clearly, and the curve that goes round past them as well. So that was Hart's Head. And now if I search Huddersfield Power Station, which I'll show you when we get to after we get to Manchester. We're not speeding, signal's green. Okay, that's fine. I definitely should be on my phone while driving the train. Huddersfield was, what was that called? Oh, it was literally just called Huddersfield Power Station, didn't have a proper name. Decommissioned in 1981, demolished at the moment. Let's just check Hart's Head Power Station. Was decommissioned 1979. Has it been knocked down? I'm going to guess yes. Oh, converted to oil firing in the 1960s. Demolished in September 24, 1989, but still used as an electrical substation. Fun fact for you there. Cooling towers, that's the name. Yeah, exactly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but do they carry out fractional distillation or something of the sort? And yes, not just texting them in a car, put in a train. And we've applied the brakes too early again. Too late, too much, and we should have been speeding up a while. Right, power. Because this is definitely what 66 drivers do, they just jam it to notch 8. This amp gauge is moderately concerning that it's just nearly got to 7,000, but oh well. Horsepower we are pulling, the screen's turned off, is a lot. Yes, 3,000. Lovely. Well, we look at the speed and the acceleration. To answer your question, Jaden, no, they don't. Fractional distillation is the splitting of crude oil down into smaller, what they call fractions. So the larger, heavier oils, which are more abundant in crude oil, such as fuel oil and bitumen. Fuel oil is used in big container freight cargo ships because the energy density is really quite high and the fuel burns slowly. That's why they're used in fuel ships, because they can carry sort of, if you like, the same energy in the fuel for not as much of it. So that's one fraction: bitumen, fuel oil. Then you've got stuff like diesel is a lighter one. Then you get petrol, kerosene. Oh, 45. Have a wave. And then you get down to stuff like natural gas, paraffin, stuff like that. So the lighter fractions. So fractional distillation is just splitting crude oil down into those different, what they call fractions. So a fraction is just, if we talk about the carbon chain length, the longer the carbon chain length is, the heavier the molecule is. So fuel oil, you know, could be a massive long carbon chain, whereas natural gas and paraffin and kerosene are much shorter carbon chain lengths. So fractional distillation splits that apart. and that's done in a fractionating column. Now let's just stop speeding for a second. Now all that means is it's a big long tower, and you've got basically a furnace at the bottom that heats the raw crude oil up, and obviously as the further up you get from the bottom, it gets cooler because your heat source is at the bottom. It gets cooler the further you are from the heat source, and then at specific calculated heights, so it's all vaporized at the bottom by the furnace, and at certain heights it will become cool enough. So right at the bottom, because fuel oils have a lower a higher boiling temperature. At the bottom where it's hottest, they'll condense into a liquid first from a gas, and then as you go up, the lighter fractions condense latest at the top where it's the most coolest, and then they're all tapped off and stored and refined from there. So fractional distillation, that's a long explanation to say no, they don't do that in power stations. Cooling towers are basically used to recondense cooling water back from steam into water. Now the steam that's boiled in the boilers that then goes through the steam turbine to turn the generator and give you electricity is not the same water that ends up in the cooling towers. It's an isolated system, if you like, because if you were to use just regular water out of the lake into the turbines, it's got dissolved minerals. It might be slightly acidic or alkaline depending on the river you get it from. It's going to have dissolved minerals. It's going to just wreck you. Turbine blades are engineered to be as efficient as possible. Any imperfections or deposits on them from just water straight out the river is going to ruin them. So they use purified water for the water that the boiler boils and then goes through the steam turbine. But then once the steam has been through the turbine and lost most of its energy, what they then do is cool it back down using water from a river in sort of like a heat exchanger type thing. And then the hot water, so you have the low pressure or the steam coming out of the turbine that's most of its energy has been used up, comes in together into a heat exchanger, a cooler if you like. The steam cools down and condenses and then is used again, heated up by the boiler, turns the turbine. But then the water that's cooling that down gets hot, gets passed into the cooling tower, and then little nozzles, there's thousands of little nozzles at the bottom that sort of spray the water out in a fine mist. And because it's a really tall shape, that sort of shape, what that causes to do, it causes a natural draft underneath. That's why brick factories have really tall chimneys to get a hot fire to draw a lot of air through. So a lot of air's drawn through. Because the water is in fine mist, it condenses really easy, drops to the bottom of the cooling tower, and then usually there's big channels in the ground where the water flows back to the power station. So yeah, the water that is in cooling towers is not the same water that goes through the turbine. And then, once it's the water's cooled in the cooling towers, and if they need to do anything to clean it up before they put it back into the river for the environmental standards, then it's just then dumped back into the river. So yeah, hopefully that all made sense. I think I found Bill Nye the Science Guy. I knew about fractional distillation but not the water part. Yeah, okay. I wrongly thought they did fractional distillation in the cooling tower for some reason, but thank you for explaining and correcting me. No, that's fine. I'm only happy to. I think you can tell I enjoyed explaining that. Hopefully it made sense, and hopefully nobody's going to write me an email saying, oh yes, well that's not true and you got that wrong. But I think I got everything just about correct there. Well, while I've been explaining that, we are 2.1 miles from Manchester and approaching a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit quite rapidly. Yes, so if you Google cooling tower, or if you go on Google Maps and look over Drax, you can actually really quite see the channels at the bottom of the cooling tower that then once all the water is condensed, that go along the channels back towards the river. I've stood inside a cooling tower when I did my work experience at Drax. It was well, the work experience was fantastic. Standing in the cooling tower was amazing because you can actually climb up some steps, go in a door into the side, and you can stand on the sort of walkway in the bottom. But the amount of water that condenses is incredible. On the ones that were active, you could see all just raining down and gushing down from the outside because they're all built on sort of stilts shaped, sort of like that. You could see all the water condensing. And another misconception, the stuff that comes out the top of the cooling tower is water vapour. It's not smoke, it's not carbon dioxide, it's not anything harmful coming out the top of the cooling. I mean, these days coal biomass has been phased out. Gas is still quite prominent, to be fair, although I think wind's been overtaking it in the last few days. But the chimney that I pointed out, that's where all the stuff from the boilers comes out, the combustion products. But out the top of the cooling tower is just water vapour. Obviously there is some loss. Not all the water that goes into a cooling tower is returned into the river. Some of it evaporates into the atmosphere. I think it's about 2% that you lose out the top, but it's just from the river anyway. So, yeah. Well, I'll type a sternly worded email back to those boffins if they do. You do right. What other facts about power stations? I could have done with a microphone to be announcing this to the passengers while we're going along. What other facts do I have about them? I'll have to have a think. I think I might keep a little bit of brakes on, to be fair. We're going quite severely downhill at the moment. Now your question, you may have been thinking in your head, and congratulations if you were, when the steam's been through the turbine, why don't they just then heat the steam up and pass it through the turbine? Why do they have to condense it into water and then heat it up again? Surely it'd just be more efficient to heat the steam up again and then send it through the turbine. But it's actually easier and less expensive if you actually turn the steam back into water and then turn it into steam again. Because if you were just to heat the steam up again, the steam would just it'd be really quite hot. It'd be really high pressure, and then all your systems and equipment and pumps, and of course moving a gas is a lot more difficult than moving water. You've got to use compressors and all sorts, whereas with water you could just use a simple pump. Moving steam around, moving a gas around is a lot more difficult than it is moving a liquid around, such as water. So rather than using really hot, really high pressure, really difficult to move around steam, they condense the steam that's been through the turbine back into water and then heat it up. I do believe that they preheat the water going into the boiler, so instead of sending it in at 5 degrees from the river, I do believe, at least in some places, they do preheat the water before it goes into the boiler. But in case you're wondering why they turn it from steam to water and then back into steam again, you might be thinking, well, that's a bit pointless. That's the reason why they do it. Can't wait to see you on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire about power stations. Yeah. I've been going entirely too slow down this hill, but I'm not bothered. I'm enjoying sharing my knowledge with you. I may have bored half of you to sleep, but yeah. I do believe my old science teacher has seen some of my GCSE science teacher has seen some videos from my channel, so if he's watching, hello. I feel like you'll appreciate the power station explanation. Now we're speeding once again. Bloody hell. Yeah, so hello if you are watching. And there's a red signal, just a cherry on top of the cake. Right, well, I doubt we're going to get many points on this route, primarily... Oh, there's a 101. Primarily because we've not made many stops, and also because it's just... it's not a one that the game's created, it's one that I've put together, so we're not likely to get many points for it. But it's been a fun ride. It has certainly been a lot of speeding, but we have taken this livery for a spin. And, well, yeah, we've seen 2 out of the 3 power stations that we wanted to. Because I've missed the other one, but... Yeah, let's not speed. I think these passengers are going to be asking for a refund. It's not been a smooth ride. So it says we have to stop just before this signal at the end of the platform. So we'll get some brakes on, I think. Not too many, but creep up as best we can. Good, very good, that was a good one. Pretty good stop that. Alright, we'll get the brakes on to a safe level, open the doors, and there we are. The passengers have seen all 3 power stations, we only saw 2, but yeah, that was the spin in my 59 livery, National Power 59206 Pride of Ferry Bridge. So yeah, pretty good that. Lock the doors, slam, and there we go. Right, so what I am now going to do is delete this train from existence, quite literally, and I was going to go back to the menu, but I think you can fast travel on this route, can you? No. Oh no, you can. I thought you wouldn't be able to. Right, there we go, that train's just been deleted from existence. So now, if you press, on Xbox control, if you press the left bumper button and the Y, if you press LB and Y together, you can get a fast travel list up. So, we want to go to Huddersfield. One moment while we just teleport there. And I can show you the other one, which we might need to take a little journey in an 08 to see. Because of the render distance, it doesn't quite fully pop into view on foot. You might have seen it actually, I might have just completely missed it. No, there it is, look. It's there. So I think we will take the station, Huddersfield Station 47, over for a little spin to go and see it. We're not taking the 08, it's too slow. Is this running? I can't tell actually, I've only got one earphone in, so I haven't got my voice echoing around my head, and I can be conscious of how loud I'm speaking, so I can't actually tell if this is on. No, it isn't, it's dead. Right, well, let's set the 47 up then. Engine only. Set that brake there. Release the brakes there. We want battery. Air brakes doesn't matter. Close the battery switch. We haven't got any AWS. Let's go put the tail lights on in the other cab. Because we're light engine and we don't want this to signal to tell us off. Tail light. I don't know if it should be the right hand side or the left hand side, but as long as it's on, as long as we've got one of them on, that'll do me nicely. Mr. PG Tips would have been able to correct me if he was here. Right, we want marker lights, absolutely. Desk lights, yes. I think that's it. Don't want the marker light, don't need train heating. So we will press the magic button to start the engine. There we go. We've got smoke coming out the exhaust, that's always a good sign. Let's ask the signaller to leave. So, oops. Oh, not this again. The map freezes. I'm pressing all the buttons and it's frozen. So let me do this and go back onto it again. Turn my controller off maybe? Turn it back on again. Jaden says your Northern National Power livery looks very good, by the way, George. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's broken. Ah, typical. Oh no, we're back. No, it's frozen again. Right. Thank you, Train Sim World 5, for being cooperative as always. We're going to see this one way or another. Good job I'm not on 1S and everything loads like that. And that close, and then it's done this. But anyway. Yeah, thank you, Jaden, for that. I know I've said that already, but yeah, when you get up close, I've said this at the start and throughout the stream, the text is pixelated, you know, the loco spec plate with the braking force, etc, etc. That's pixelated, not because I've been lazy and just cheated. Everything on there is as it appears. The full text is on there. You know, when it says brake force, it does actually say brake force in the design, in the livery editor. But because of the way Train Sim World's livery editor works, things that are really small just end up pixelated. So it's the best I can do with a tool that's not very good. So this is what I did earlier. I spawned on foot and then spawned my custom scenario in. Let's set it to where we were roughly earlier. Yeah, that'll do. I think did I set it to July or did I leave it as February? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to see this one way or another. Completely disregard all safety by running straight over the tracks. And now we're going to have to go through this rigmarole again. Do I bother? Yes, we're doing it properly. If we're going to do it, we're doing it properly. So, there we go. Right, battery selector switch doesn't matter so much. On, engine only, loco brakes, driver's brake, engine start. Yeah, we've got the magic smoke coming out, so that's good. Right, don't freeze this time. We want us to go somewhere up here. I'll tell you what, let's stop at Deaton. That should be plenty of distance to be able to go past there, 1.9 mile. So with the shunt signal, the double white signal there, forwards gear, brakes off, open the window for maximum sound. We shall be underway. The parking brake is off, right? Oh no, oh that was naughty. Well, at least it's one that comes off easily. You don't have to sit there holding the left stick for 5 minutes. Let's go. We're doing a hijacking on the Huddersfield 47. I'm alright. I'm nearly done anyway. No, I'm alright. I'm streaming, by the way. You're on stream. My brother is coming offering me gifts of drinks and calorific items. Bye. Power. We could actually, on second thoughts, I said earlier in the stream on the run past Ravensthorpe I hadn't managed to get to 80 miles an hour on that section of track yet, so we might try that. Yeah, there we go. Let's try and line the shot up. There you go, there's the other power station there. There you go, with the chimney, little chimney in the background as well. So that was the third one that I completely forgot to look. I don't know how I didn't see it. It's literally just turn your head 45 degrees that way and you'd have seen it. But yeah, there we go. That was the third one. And I will make the stop at Deaton. We'll try and get to 80 mile an hour on that Ravensthorpe section. And then I shouldn't have turned the throttle off there, I only meant to. Tickle it down. And I've left braking far too late here. Yeah, what you're not supposed to do on diesels is just immediately go from, you know, throttle 50% to jamming it off, because as you may have noticed, when you turn the throttle off, the current doesn't just immediately drop down to zero, and if you just jam the throttle to off, it cuts the current off immediately, and it can cause flashover and damage on traction motors, which is not good. And I've not done the brakes much good either by leaving it this long to stop. Should have been braking a lot sooner. And we're on a 1 in 147 downhill as well. Yeah, we're not making this stop. Oh, actually, stone me, we might. Oh, so we're downhill and it just, okay, I was expecting to keep holding, but never mind. Right, so we are, please disembark the train. Fine, I'll disembark the train. And then I will delete, no, that's the torch, and then I will delete the train. And now we are going to finally try and hit 80. And there's the other power station, look, with its big chimney. So we want to be going this way. Let's pick a loco appropriate to this route. So let's go. Do we do the 40? Yeah, I don't drive. The 40 is one I've not driven most often. So can we get two locomotives? A double header but with nothing. Could I connect two together? That might be a bit complex for what we're trying to do actually. So I'll just put one in. Otherwise we've then got to connect them together and all sorts. Oh wait, actually. How close together can you spawn them? Not close enough to be worthwhile bothering. I don't even know if the 40s can get up to 80. Is there a max speed limit anywhere here? Right, we want... I'll put both tail lights on. I think that's what we ideally should do. The engine's already started, so all the battery, yeah, everything's already done like that. So we are doing this properly. I'm not going without any marker lights. Let's get you off. Engine's already running. Master key, engine only. Get some lights on. We want lower left and nope. We want lower left and lower right, I think. I mean, these head code discs are always the same. I do need to learn which ones are a code for passenger freight, light engine, etc. But just for the purpose of this, I'll leave it. Instrument lights, cab lights, no. Window open for some sound. Let's go set path. Try and get to 80 before the next station, so we will stop. That's not a valid location. Oh, that must be going the other direction. So. Joy of Xbox trying to highlight this again. Yeah, there we go. Forwards, on. Wait for the brakes to come off and give it some oomph. And let's see if we can get to 80. Now if we can get to 45 reasonably quickly. Whoa, look at that. Rolling some coal. Right, we're going to get to 40. We're not going to get to 45 before this limit here, so let's just jam it to full and see what happens. I think we've got 2.3 miles. Murfield is not long enough, so let's just remove path. Oh no, the next signal's now going to be red, isn't it? Yep, damn it. Right, let's just pick somewhere up here quickly before it gives us a red. And now you're not watching the speed increase. That'll do. There we go. Crisis averted. Yeah, I think we're going to do it, to be fair. Bit of downhill to help us. God knows if this would be permitted to go this fast in real life. But, right. I think we're going to do it. Oh, we're going to do it easily. I think we might even do it before this station. Would we be able to stop? Suppose we can find out. Right, there we go, 80 miles an hour, brakes on. Let's see if we can stop before we blow through this station. Plot twist, I don't think we are going to be able to. Stick the handbrake on as well. It's not going to happen. No, never mind. That was never going to happen. Right, well, I'll pull up before this red signal, and I think I'll call this stream there for today. Maybe able to do another one this weekend. I'm not quite sure what I've got planned tomorrow and Sunday, but I'll keep you informed about if I do plan to do another. Right then, stick it in engine only for safety. That was going to be today's stream, everyone. Thank you very much indeed for joining. It's been nice to have you here this evening. And it's been a nice start to winding down at the weekend for me as well. So what have we done today? Well, we tested the 66 with my new livery. Drove a 66 for the first time in a while. Broke the speed limit by 3 times the speed limit. Didn't see one of the 3 power stations we were meant to see, and then blasted it to 80 in this nice little class 40. So that is today's stream. Thank you all very much for watching today. Thank you to everyone who's been in the chat. So far that's been Jaden from On The Main Line, Pete from Pete's Transport and More, and Tim Levi Productions, and of course thanks to anyone else who has been watching but not necessarily being in the chat. If I can find time to do another stream, maybe this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, I'll let you know. And remember, you can always join my Discord server to get updates on future videos, ideas, and just have a good little chat about generally railway related things. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. I'm going to leave it there, go downstairs and have a bar of chocolate. Thank you very much indeed for joining this evening, and I do hope to see you again soon. Please do take care, and bye for now.